Hi everyone, welcome to Technology World Hub. My name is Anil. In this session, we are going to discuss what is service virtualization. Okay, let's start this. Service virtualization is a software testing and development technique that simulates the behavior of components in an application that are unavailable, costly, difficult to access, or still under development. Okay. It allows teams to test and develop applications without waiting for all dependent systems to be fully available. That means, let's say developer are developing. Testers with virtualization service, so what they can do, they can start testing before the development of the application. Like it is a kind of simulated environment. On that the testing will be done, and once the developer, at least all the basic configuration, all the testing setup, like kind of critical flows, everything will be tested. So once developer will deploy or develop the real code, then that code will be deployed into a testing environment, and the same test cases which are executed on service virtualization, those test cases will be executed on testing environment, which makes the task easier. So in this case what happens, like the tester will not create all the things from the scratch. Basically it will execute the same pack which is already developed or built executed in the virtualization service. Basically it will save time, cost, okay, everything. Let's see why service virtualization is used. Dependencies like third-party APIs, databases, or microservices may be slow, unstable, or unavailable. Helps parallelize development and testing. Okay, it helps parallelize development and testing. So testing both will go hand in hand. So testing will not depend, or they will not wait for the development to be completed. So front-end teams can test even if back-end services are not ready. Understood? With virtualization, so front-end team can also test if back-end services are not ready. Okay. It reduces testing costs by avoiding usage of costly or limited external systems. Enables early defect detection because testing can happen continuously, not just for integration. Right? We can detect the bug, or we can detect the any kind of issue early. How it works? Service virtualization creates a virtual service that mimics the behavior of the real service. What are the key points? Simulates responses based on predefined scenarios. Okay, it simulates responses based on predefined scenarios. Can handle request response patterns including SOAP, REST, JMS, MQ, etc. Okay, it will handle request response patterns including SOAP, REST, JMS, MQ, etc. It supports stateful interactions, so responses can depend on previous requests. Okay. And next, components. Virtual services, the simulated endpoints, that is APIs, databases, or message queues. Okay, these are virtual services. What are virtual? Basically, the simulated endpoints, that is APIs, databases or message queues. Service virtualization server or tool hosts and manages virtual services, that is CA Service Virtualization, Broadcom, Parasoft Virtualize, IBM Rational Test Virtualization Server, etc. In consumer applications, the application under test which interacts with virtualized services as if they were real. Okay, they are consumer applications. The application under test which interacts with virtualized services as if they were real. What is the benefits? Faster testing. Development and testing don't wait for all components. Cost reduction. Avoids expensive or restricted external services. Improved test coverage. Can simulate edge cases or error scenarios difficult to replicate in real systems. Yeah, some scenario might be difficult to simulate in real systems, so that we can replicate in virtualization services. Continuous integration, delivery ready. Works well with CI/CD pipelines. Okay, because we will not wait, like continuous integration, continuous deployment or continuous delivery. Example use cases. Imagine an e-commerce application. Payment gateway API is external and charges money per transactions. We know that. QA can create a virtual payment service that simulates success, failure and timeout scenarios. Okay, instead of using the third party, external API, QA can use virtual payment service. Okay, that simulates success, failure and timeout scenarios. This allows end-to-end testing without making real payments. What are the popular tools? CA Service Virtualization, that is Broadcom, Parasoft Virtualize, IBM Rational Test Virtualization, Mountebank open source, WireMock open source for REST APIs, WireMock. Okay. Why microservice virtualization is needed? In microservices architecture, applications are composed of many small, independently deployable services. During development or testing, some microservices may be under development, not deployed in the test environment, unstable or have limited resources. Virtualizing the services allows teams to develop and test independently. Test integration and system behavior. Simulate failure or edge cases without affecting production. Okay, it will simulate the failure or edge cases without affecting production. How it works? A virtual microservice mimics the behavior of the real service. Okay, it intercepts a request from other services and provides predefined or dynamic responses. Okay, what it did? It intercepts requests from other services and provides predefined or dynamic responses. It provides predefined or dynamic responses. Supports REST APIs or SOAP APIs. Message queues, that is Kafka or RabbitMQ. Database calls, mocked responses. What are the benefits? Decouples development. Teams don't wait for dependent microservices. Speeds up testing. Test end-to-end flows early. Simulates edge cases, that is service downtime, slow responses, invalid data. Okay, simulates edge cases, service downtime, it will find out the service downtime, slow responses, anything, if something is providing slow response, it will find out invalid data, it will identify the invalid data. Supports CI/CD pipelines, integrates into automated testing for continuous delivery, continuous integration, continuous delivery. Okay. Example use case. Suppose you have an online booking system. Booking service depends on payment service and notification service. Correct? The payment service is still under development. Virtualize it to return success, failure or time out responses. Test booking workflows end to end without waiting for the real payment services. Okay, because it will just use those virtual services and you can write the end-to-end. Understood? Tools for microservice virtualization: WireMock, Mocks, REST APIs, Mountebank, multi-protocol service virtualization, Hoverfly, lightweight API simulation, Parasoft virtualize, enterprise grade, supports microservices, Mock servers for HTTP services. Key considerations: responses should mimic realistic behavior, including delays, errors, or stateful responses. Keep virtualized services lightweight and maintainable. Update virtual services as the real services evolve to avoid discrepancies. Basic questions. What is service virtualization? It is a technique to simulate unavailable or costly components of an application, allowing testing and development without depending on real services. Okay? It is a technique to simulate unavailable or costly components of an application, allowing testing and development without depending on real services. Why is service virtualization used? To enable early testing, reduce costs, handle unavailable services, test edge cases, and support CI/CD pipelines. What are the main components of service virtualization? Virtual services, simulated endpoints, consumer applications, the system under test, virtualization server or tools, host and manages virtual services. Okay, these are the main components of service virtualization. First thing is virtual services with simulated endpoints, consumer applications, the system under test, then virtualization server or tool, hosts and manages virtual services. What are the benefits of service virtualization? Faster testing and development, reduced dependency on unavailable services, cost effective, supports error simulation and edge cases. Okay, these are the benefits of service virtualization. Faster testing and development, reduced dependency on unavailable services, cost effective, supports error simulation and edge cases. Then intermediate questions. How is service virtualization different from mocking and stubbing? Aspect, scope. Mocking or stubbing, usually unit test. Okay. Service virtualization, end-to-end integration. Then aspect, behavior. Mocking and stubbing, simple, predefined. Service virtualization can simulate a realistic, stateful responses. Then tools, Mockito, JUnit. Then CS service virtualization, Parasoft. Services virtualization. Okay. What type of services can be virtualized? Web services, that is SOAP or REST. Databases, message queues, JMS, Kafka. Mainframe or legacy systems. Explain stateful versus stateless virtual services. Stateless, same response every time for a request. Stateful, response depends on previous interactions, like a shopping cart. Okay, stateless means same response every time for a request. Okay, stateful, response depends on previous interactions. Stateful, stateless. Okay, that's the difference between stateful and stateless. In stateless, same response every time for a request. Stateful response depends on previous interactions, like shopping cart. Yeah. What are some common tools for service virtualization? CS service virtualization, that is Broadcom, Parasoft virtualize, IBM rational test virtualization, WireMock, Mountebank. Okay. Yeah. Next question. These are advanced questions. How does service virtualization fit into CI/CD pipelines? Virtual services allow automated tests to run even when dependent services are not available, enabling faster and continuous integration or testing. Can service virtualization simulate errors or slow responses? Yes. It can simulate timeouts, service downtime, exceptions, and various response scenarios to test error handling. What is microservice virtualization? Virtualization applied specifically to microservices to simulate unavailable or unstable microservices in distributed architectures. Okay, how do you maintain virtual services in long-term projects? Keep them versioned, aligned with real services, and update them when real service behavior changes. Explain a real-time scenario where service virtualization is useful. Okay. Testing payment workflows when the payment gateway API is costly, unstable, or unavailable. Virtual services simulate successful or failure without making real transactions. Okay. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's all about virtualization service. Okay. So I will come up with some new topic. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Please like it, subscribe the channel, share with your friends and family. Anything you put in the comment box, I will reply. Yeah, that's all about service virtualization. Thank you so much, guys.